That's very patriotic. A drum. And
What rhythm is he going to beat?
Paradiddle.
Paradiddle Joe beats out the rhythm in a rudimental way. You guys know that song?
how about
Paradiddle
little drummer boy?
I don't know about that.
He's just jamming along with the tunes, right?
Yeah, he'll just play along with the music.
Okay.
We be jamming.
Okay, well, let's get going, folks. Thank you, you small, hardy group of people who showed up on such a pretty morning. Thank you for being here. Let's start the meeting. I'll lead the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
flag
Play.
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it
Which
stands,
stands
one nation, under God, indivisible,
With
liberty
and justice
justice
for
for all.
all someday.
someday. Okay.
I started saying the someday at the township and village meetings when they do the pledge, and they all look at me really weird.
No doubt.
But I've decided I don't care. It's important to say that.
Not giving me the scroll for the other people.
Someday.
Who's saying that?
Yeah. See who else is here. David Green.
Are we all muting so that Jim can
Yep.
talk to us?
Yeah,
Oh, you have to mute?
If you can, that'd be great.
I thought it was somebody.
Okay, let's go here. I've got some chair announcements here first. I want to thank all the folks that worked on Gretchen's big event on Crystal Lake at that wonderful house on Crystal Lake, led by Amy Ferris and a group that included Rick Rhodes and a few other of our party stalwarts. Thank you all very, very much for doing that. I wanted to show you guys we have a new thing for a fundraiser for our scholarships. And there's our handsome secretary, our treasurer rather, modeling it. It's our new Benzie Dems umbrella. And up there says Benzie Dems, we've got you covered. And it's a nice blue and white, and it's a nice sized umbrella. You can get one for $35, and the proceeds go to our scholarship fund. So there you go. Be styling. We'll see some of these at our parade, I would imagine. And we'll hear more from Jane about that when it's her turn to talk about the parade. Okay, so there's that.
Can we just get those at the headquarters, Jim? They're in supply at the headquarters, the umbrellas?
Thank you. Duh, I should have said that. Yep, yep, they're there. And headquarters is open Monday through Friday, 10 to 4. Also open Mondays late till 7, and open Saturday, actually right now, 10 till 1. So you can go do
Put it
that.
in the chat.
I know, but I'm just gonna do it.
Okay. So listen, folks, here's the thing that I want to tell you today. We've spent the last couple years building a real machine here that's pretty effective. Kira's going to go over in just a minute or two. Kira's going to go over kind of a list of our accomplishments over the last 5 or 6 months, just so we can all appreciate the scope of what we've developed. But now it's really, really time to put that to use to try and elect some candidates. We've got a big opportunity with that. I'm going to be saying this over and over again because it's so true. It's important that people really understand it. We in Michigan have a huge opportunity this time around. We've got a great economy going on. We've got a governor and a secretary of state and a attorney general who are very well respected and are great to have at the top of the ticket for re-election. And more germane to us, we've got some very good candidates here. We have 3 county commission candidates. First time we've had that in a long time. If you count the ones that are not actively campaigning, we'll have 6, which is very nice. It's a good thing. It helps get Democrats out to vote. We also have a new 103rd district up in the right-hand corner of our county in Platte and Elmira townships. That 103rd district is very winnable for the state house. So we'll be working that very hard. We've got a fine candidate for the rest of the House district that covers us for the rest of Benzie, the other 11 townships or whatever it is, in Kathy Albro. And very significantly, we have Terry Sabo running for the state Senate. We've got a new Senate district that is very winnable. It's being viewed as the top state Senate race in Michigan now, the top Senate race, and we are part of that. We are part of that, which is really a big change. That's not happened in our memory, really. And we also have Dr. Bob running a very strong congressional race that we are part of. So there's all these different candidates out there that we can get involved with, and we really would like you to do that. We're going to be talking about canvassing and a lot of other things you can do. But I wanted to just say to Mike Ross, Mike, you are going to be calling people to enlist them for canvassing. And I think you have a message for everybody about maybe they can call you or something. What was that?
I do. I will start off with this. Can you hold it for me? Yeah. I would like all of you, or at least 10 or 20, to text me, like during this meeting, that you will canvass. This is the most important.
We'll get it.
The most important election in our time, and we are great at raising money. We have done a fantastic job there. We need people with their boots on the street and knocking doors. Again, it's always been claimed that it's the most effective way to support candidates. Right off the bat, our county commission candidates are going to need help. They need to hit all their doors in their district if they can. And I in the past have made thousands of phone calls and tried to recruit people, but if I didn't have to do that, it would be nice to have you guys contact me. I'm very good at my checking my texts. So if you were to text me with a positive response, and if you do that, I will be just happy as hell.
Read your email because it's hard to read.
Yeah, my email, right now my internet's out, so that's why I'm here at the office, but my email is mike.ross0919@gmail.com. And I will put that stuff in the chat, but I just want to impress upon you how important it is that you guys contact me or Jim or maybe John Shabazi is also helping with this. And if some of you would text me right now, wow, that would be wonderful.
Thanks, Mike.
I think I just got two texts already. Let's make it at least 20 by the time the meeting's
I
done.
love it. Do we
Okay.
get a coffee cup?
You get coffee. I don't know if you get coffee. Anyway, please step up and help us with this. If we got enough people, we don't have to wear the same people out 2 days a week. You know, we'll probably be doing this, I would think, a couple days a week. Sometimes we have done it 3 days a week, but the more people we get, we can keep fresh legs on the ground.
Great.
Right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mike. Yeah, I just want to add briefly to that. I did talk to Terry Sabo last night. Karen Cunningham had a little party for him over at her house, and he and his assistant were just off doing 100 doors in Frankfurt.
Wow.
And they did it in an afternoon, and from like 11 o'clock till party, which was at 5:30. And he said he had a great experience. They're working two really interesting lists. One is strong Democrats who don't vote very often, and people who, according to the stuff the van has on them, looks like they're persuadable. They're not strong Republicans. They don't vote that often, but they are persuadable. And he went to those kinds of houses all day, and he said he had a really, really good time. People were very, very positive. So that I want to bring that energy to you and tell you they're already on the ground around here and elsewhere, and they'd like to form some other teams to help Terry out. So that's another reason to do this. So anyway, the rubber meets the road. This is going forward.
Jim?
We are in the middle of an election, and we need your help.
Jim?
Yes.
Yeah, Bill Haggard.
Hi.
Just so you're aware, because of the way in which the 103rd district comes into Benzie County, I'm working on Betsy Kofia's campaign, and I've been doing a lot of canvassing for her, but it's through the Democratic office in Traverse City.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. How's it going?
Oh, real good. Same sort of lists that you were talking about.
Yep.
Occasionally you run across the lists are not always perfect, but that's okay. Had some great conversations with people.
Good. Thanks for doing that, Bill. You're a champ. All right. We want to look back at what we've been doing the last year and talk about membership a little bit. And to do that, our membership director with the new hairdo, here is Kira Duvernoy.
I prefer to be called the membership queen. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
So anyway, I want to thank all of our members for being one of 365 rockin' Benzie Dems. And I want to remind us all of what Margaret Mead said, which is never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, that's the only thing that ever has. And I think that that is us, because we do things in our little pond here, and it really does make a difference. Anyway, let's go back over some of the things that we have done. Starting with the holiday season, we had a food drive for the Honor Food Bank and the St. Philip's Baby Pantry, and we raised $2,000 for each of those places, along with a truckload, literally a truckload of food and items for both places. We have a letter to the editor group that gets something in the Record Patriot and other papers every week. So those letters that they write tout our democratic values and invite people to join us, and it's wonderful. We also have provided scholarships to 4 graduating seniors in Benzie County this year. $750 goes to each of those 4 students. And the great thing is that we ask them to do something that improves their, that plants the seeds of democracy in those students. So we ask them to either write an essay or create a public service announcement about the common good, which helps them to think civically and to think about public policy, and thereby starts them thinking about what democracy really means. So I'm really thrilled that we've been able to do that. And when we present those scholarships, people know they're coming from us, which is great. We also have a group of members that went to give public input at the Citizens Independent Redistricting Commission, the commission that draws these maps that we now have. And several of us went to Gaylord and gave input to the committee about why and where we wanted to see those lines drawn. And that's what allowed us. We were part of what got the Senate district to be what it is now, giving us the chance to flip the Senate. So us little people from Benzie County went to Gaylord, another little place, and gave our input. And never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. We have changed that district, as well as others, but to us, that's really important. Now we also have members that attend every township board meeting, and then they succinctly report back to the people in that township as to what's going on, which is great. We know what our township people are doing. It's not under the covers. We've also had lots of great meet and greets for candidates that are upcoming. Dr. Bob was in February, Terry Sabo in May, the 5 Shores event for all of our state and local candidates was just a week or 2 ago. And then of course, we hosted the intrepid Gretchen Whitmer and the unstoppable Dana Nessel, both on Memorial Day weekend in different places. And it was a joy to talk to those women and to have them take our questions. And, you know, I know they tell everybody that they're the best county, but I really think they like us. I just really think they do. Anyway, we also have come up with the local candidates that Jim has talked about for county commission and school board. We have enough candidates to fill every seat that's available on both school boards in Benzie County. So we did a lot of work trying to find those people to run, and now we have to do a lot of work to get them into office. So that's been wonderful. We have volunteers that keep the office open, as Jim said, and we've had people coming in to sign petitions. And once again, those petitions, just like the one that gave us the independent districting committee to stop gerrymandering, it's a small group of committed people changing the world. So anyway, thanks for being a part of the party. Stay active, stay involved, and change the world. That's all.
That's all, just change the book.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Kira. Thank you very much. All right.
Nice speech.
Yeah, it's all true. Even better, it's all true.
It is all true. I mean,
all
you
true.
guys are the heart of my everyday, and when I get down, I think there's a lot of us, and we're awesome.
You know,
So I'll stop talking.
Yeah, now, I second that emotion. When I get down, I also think about who I work with, who we work with. It really helps. It really does. Can you imagine being out here and not knowing that there are all these other Benzie Democrats around? You're just looking at the TV and going, God, it's hopeless. Well, it ain't. So that's good. Thank you. Okay, we're going to talk parades now.
Oh, blue.
With Susan and Jane. Susan, you want to make an introduction to this, and then we'll hear about plans that Jane and company are coming up with, y'all?
I'm just trying to shovel in some food because I have to work today at the art center. I don't know if Jane's on.
She is.
Hi, Susan. I'm here in the black box.
Okay, kind of hiding out. Well, Jane can start. I can start. Janie just put together a list, and of course, we've got a lot of people who are saying they'll walk and ride. Our secret benefactor and decorator would like more people so that we're sure we have as close to 40 people as we can. As far as I can see, everything's going along smoothly. The only question might be, and Jane, you might or might not agree, if we have too many riders, we might need one more small convertible. Chris is still talking about possibly getting this great big truck from her neighbor. And with a great big truck, it depends on how you get people into that truck if they're having problems doing that. Do you follow me? Like if somebody really wants to be, for example, let's just take Carol Volpe. If she wanted to ride in the parade, she would have a hard time maybe getting into a truck unless the truck had an easy access. I forget what we did last year. We did something. We had a little stool, footstool, something like that. I think we could solve that problem.
Susan, let me just interject that we do have a possible, really probably like 98% truck and trailer, and the trailer will hold 10 people. It's a new trailer. It's really sweet, and it has swing doors that open. I told Jane about it, but I haven't 100% confirmed it. So that's an option. We can put chairs in there and just travel right along. So I'll let you know about that shortly.
Chris, we tried to do, one year we tried with chairs.
Yeah. Oh.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
They slide. So that's too dangerous. We have to get the hay. Jane's already, we've got things we could throw over the hay so you're not sticky or suffering from hay ass, you know, or something like that. I don't know what you call it. And so we can do that. I haven't heard from Don Smeltzer. Has anybody heard word from him or seen him or run into him? I'll call him, I guess, because he usually supplies us with hay. So we will need in the next, how far away are we? 2 weeks from the 4th? We'll need to know how much hay we need.
Yeah.
We
Could I
do have
ask,
more, sorry?
could I ask Jane to give us kind of an overview of this
Yeah.
new approach we're looking for here, Jane?
Mhm.
Good morning, everyone. So Kiara and Jim, the last comments you made about people and power and we're here and show what we are is a great segue to the whole thing here. 2022, as we all know, this election, our democracy depends on more than it ever has before. And there's just so much crazy stuff going on in this world right now. This is our opportunity to show Benzie, to show people that we are here and there are lots of us and there's power in numbers. So we want as many people as possible. We've got, this whole thing has been, there's a unified theme. We're asking people to show up wearing red, white, and or blue, whatever that means to you. We've got plenty of swag, sparkly stuff that, you can, decorations and stuff you can have. Someone will be decorating the cars, the person who mapped it out. As far as vehicles, Susan and Chris and I will talk because we've had many offers of cars, and at this moment in time, we only have like 3, maybe 6 people that need rides. So we'll deal with that at another moment. But we need children and we need bodies, and so there's music that's gonna it's very, very patriotic. We are reclaiming the flag. There's gonna be lots and lots of flags. It's going to be really happy. We've got all kinds of signs. So once we get the numbers more confirmed, which will be in the next few days or so, we're going to assign people we need people to carry signs. We have signs on 8-foot poles that they're 2-sided, and the message is our values. So everything is about, it's all positive, what we are for. So the signs are things like unity, jobs, childcare, things like that. And then we will need 6 people for each parade to hand out goodies. Those bags are all set to go. There's all kinds of goodies that we're going to be handing out. It's basically our opportunity to show, like, this is us. There's a lot of us. We're awesome. Come join us. And there's going to be lots of singing and happiness and positive attitudes. It'll be really fun. And if you are interested and have not already communicated with Susan or I, Susan, we can leave our emails in the chat and our phone numbers so people can contact us, because we just need to get numbers so that we can fill our assignments.
Sure.
And then after that, we just need as many extra people walking as possible. Bring family, friends, children. And yeah, it's going to be a blast.
Doesn't everybody agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yay.
Power in numbers. We got to show them there are lots of us, and
Yeah.
we're good people. We're just like,
Yeah.
we're your neighbors. We live here. We stand for good things. It's an important moment, I think, for us to be seen in this community. It's like, come join us. This is serious stuff here.
It's serious fun is what it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we do have fun, but this will be slightly more organized fun
Yeah.
and maybe a little livelier. And the music is our secret benefactor decorator has figured out a way to have the music be heard, even though we're all going to be singing. So with a simple matter of a boombox, and then instruments are fine, and the drummer and anybody who wants to bring an instrument. So it'll be a little bit louder than usual and a little more contained, I'm going to say unified. Now, I've registered us for both parades. And Beulah, they have 2 slots for us, but that doesn't mean we only have 2 cars. It's just to give us a fairly wide berth. If you've all done the parades before, we don't find out where we're positioned until the lineup.
Yeah.
So that's a tricky little part of people who don't want to walk long distances running around trying to find that out. But I'll tell you all about that we will as we get closer. That's just
Yeah,
a
we'll-
logistic.
One more thing to throw out there is that for the vehicles, it's all set up to work in a certain way. So So we can't just have vehicles pouring in because then none of this is
Right.
gonna work out. So as I said, Susan and Chris and I will have a conversation and we'll deal with that part. But if you want to come and you can't walk, please let us know that also, because then we'll find a seat for you.
Yep.
We also have kazoos, don't we?
Yes, yes. Of course, if you don't like to sing, you can play a kazoo.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this up here one more time, real fast. I've got 8 here. I've got 8 responses. So this is like a telethon. You've got time now to text me. And let's get that up to 20 before the end of the telethon today.
Mike, you've missed your calling.
Yeah,
We'll get you a job at IPR, man. It's
Yeah,
great.
if we get 20 more today, then we're
We'll
gonna
double 'em.
match those
We'll
with
match them,
20 on our
yes.
phone calls next week, so.
Yeah.
All
Susan,
right.
I can't do the Beulah, but I could do Frankfurt.
okay,
Okay, put me down to walk with Frankfurt.
got it. Thanks, Barb. That's
Um,
good because we're a little short on Frankfurt.
One thing I didn't say was that we need both walkers, drivers and door knockers. We try to always send 2 people to each address. So if you can't knock on the door and talk to people, you could drive. Thank you.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
Susan,
Yep.
this is Deanne. Robert and I we can walk in Frankfurt.
Good, Deanne.
Yeah, whatever you want
Okay.
us to do. Yeah.
That's super. You don't have to do you don't have to worry about anything except getting there.
Okay.
That's, and then we've got the stuff to hand you and even a job to do, which could be anything from just walking with a sign or giving out gifts. We haven't quite, but we'll try to be more specific and say your job is taking pens to the crowds or candy, but it might change that job and it might be that you have to hold a sign. That's, but those are small logistics. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would like to say that after last year's parade, which I was really grateful for, it was a lot of fun to be together after all the stuff going through the pandemic and
Mhm.
sing out, and the response back from the crowd was warm, but we were
Yeah.
kind of a small contingent. And I really felt then that if we could really just pump this up some more, get a fresh crop of well-designed signs and a whole new look and just a slightly updated strategy to it and expand the thing, it would be great. And I was just very inspired by last year's event, looking towards this year's event. And then Jane showed up and said, hey, we've got somebody here who wants to really help out the parade in a whole bunch of ways and buy a lot of stuff that could, the signage and the banners and all this other stuff, and come up with a plan and really push the plan to our members. And it's great to see it working. And I'm really, really excited and looking forward to the parade on July 4th. It's really going to be a good time. Bring your friends. You don't have to be a member to show up. Just have your heart in the right place. It's all we need.
And I don't think there's anyone here unless we end up using Paul's car. I see Paul's name down there. You can have 1000% trust in the person that will be decorating your vehicle in the items that they use. This person is very skilled at that.
Yeah.
So you can
Wait till
feel
you see the
confident.
stuff. You'll be very impressed by
Yeah.
that
All
person.
you got to do basically is commit to showing up. That's really what you got to do. You got to commit
Right.
to showing up so we know where everybody goes when they get there. We'll have all the stuff for you. Okay?
Correct.
Makes it easy to bring your friends.
We'll even have cold beverages at the end.
All right. Good policy. Okay,
Very good.
let's move on from the parade. Thanks to both of you for doing this. Susan, thanks for doing it over the years. You're such a champ, and it's great to see somebody like Jane coming in to give
It's
you
wonderful.
the advice that you need and deserve.
It's just wonderful. Yep.
Yeah, really does.
I mean, to have, a little bit of new blood into it. Thanks, Jeannie. We'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Thank you, Susan. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are too, kiddo.
Oh, yay.
Okay, moving right along here. We'd like to hear a little bit about what's going on with county broadband. Barb Skirdahl is going to tell us a little bit about it.
All right. I'll see if I can get action packed. I'm going to put something. Okay. I think it's been a multi-year process of surveying Benzie County residents about what their broadband access, internet access, good, bad, or non-existent. And the county, the county commissioners at one point decided to use the company Merit Network. And Merit, and just I'm reading this, is a nonprofit internet network and data collection organization that partners with universities. The organization runs the Michigan Moonshot. And so I'll talk more about that. A statewide broadband initiative and and Merit is not a service provider. So I'm just clarifying some things because if I have questions, I'm assuming I may not be the only one with that question. So they ran the survey, but at the meeting on May 24th, the Benzie Dems, thank you, Jim, organized to have there were 7 speakers, including Jim, Ingemar Johansson, Marcia Curran, Karen Cunningham, Mike Ross, Tom Reichert, and Shauna Leno, all got up during the public input right at the beginning of the meeting to express their observations, their concerns, the fact that this is what, the county needs this, and not for a few, but for everyone. We need county-wide broadband. They expressed all these things. Marcia also mentioned that, in the 1930s, we had the rural electrification project that, that was literally getting electric lights to people across the country. This is kind of akin to that, in that we need to get broadband, and getting widespread broadband for education, for works, for farmers, for everybody is really critical. And so they all made some excellent points. Let me tell you again, you can go to benzieco.net and go to the elected officials, commissioners, pull up the agendas. You can read some of the notes from every Board of Commissioners meeting, and they have an agenda packet, which I will mention has this full Merit survey response, which the head of one of the main people in Merit, working with Katie Zeitz. If you have questions about broadband, Katie is very involved in this. She is our county administrator. So my points that I wanted to make. So they made this presentation on the 24th about broadband. Basically, the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, had made reports to the effect that Benzie County was not bad. This survey found it to be totally underserved. We have a problem. It's stark with some of the words that are used. Much of Benzie County is unconnected and insufficiently connected. So, but back to the survey itself, they got a tremendous response. So number one, the Merit people said, wow, they got over a 22% response. Now to a survey, anybody who knows surveys, that's a high percentage response. So they were extremely impressed by that. But what it showed was that the FCC information is completely wrong. We are way underserved. And actually in the one of the fine endpoints was only 1.9% of responding households had internet speed of 100 over 20, and just that's the megabits per second download. 100 download and 20 upload is what they want to have countywide. And right now the low level is like 25 over 3. So, and even then 72.8% of the county didn't have 25 over 3. And you can check those numbers, but go to the report itself. Let me see. So the very high percent, okay, they just basically, we know what we need to do. Katie Zeitz is working on this. Jim asked if it was brought up in the last meeting. It was not. It was a 3.5 hour meeting. But she's on it. So when you have questions, go directly to Katie. I think, and you know, she's going to be working with the board and how we move forward. But this survey is a statewide thing. So I encourage you, if you haven't already, and I've got it all set up in the chat. Oops, why did it not do that? Okay, maybe now. I'm going to try to put this thing, michiganmoonshot.org, michiganmoonshot.org. And the Michigan Moonshot is Merit's commitment to ending the digital divide. And I'm writing this by leveraging public and private partnerships to connect everyone in rural Michigan. So the common question is, what's the next step? Well, it's getting all this information. It's getting public and private partnerships going so that, and then, you know, maybe, anyway, Katie has the answers to a lot of these questions, and she's your contact. So michiganmoonshot.org. I'm going to try to put it in the chat. I had it all set up, but now it doesn't seem to be going into the chat, but I will get it into the chat. Jim, was that what you wanted from me?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
So I guess the upshot there is that Benzie responded hugely to the survey.
Right.
Reveals a big interest in this. The message we were trying to give to the commission at the start of the meeting was, don't just hand this off to Spectrum or somebody and let them take the federal money and go spend it. We need to set goals, standards, and we need to have somebody who is a project manager to look it over. And also it would be a really good idea to have some sort of a community body that listens to the community and talks to the administration about that.
Right.
So if you think Katie Seitz is the one to talk to about that, that's great.
Well, if you were to go to the May 24th packet of information and go to the agenda or the packet, which then literally there's 120, 130 pages of stuff that the commissioners deal with and go through during their meeting. At the bottom of that, you scroll down at the end, is the entire presentation, all the graphs and charts and how each county responded and all the details. So check it out. But this moonshot thing, Michigan Moonshot, is a statewide thing. You can also go to that site and you can test your own conductivity right then and there. I did it last night. I wrote it down someplace. Where did I write? Anyway, mine, my download was 104, so that was good. My upload was 10, and they say 20 is where it should be. That's at that moment. They say to do it every once in a while. So check out. But I'm in one of the spots on the map that's supposed to have decent.
Yeah.
So, but look at the maps, check it out, be familiar, and then talk to Katie when you have specific questions. But it is on a lot of people's minds. Thanks.
And I would just like to say, in concluding on this part, that if you want to get more involved in making sure the county does a good job on this, please contact me, okay? We can talk and we can get you set up to pay more attention to it, and find a good way to keep spreading the good word on this. Katie Seitz is probably a fine county administrator. She's got a lot on her plate. I think it's very important that she hear from citizens, not in a partisan way, but hear from citizens that this is important. So if you'd like to contact me, it's just jimdulzo@gmail. Everybody can remember that. Send me an email, jimdulzo@gmail, and we'll get you going, okay? Great.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Barb. Quickly, a campaign update from Chris Kitzman.
Okay, Jim and Kira have covered a lot of this, so I'll just hit the highlights, but I wanted to just reiterate that we have those 3 strong county commission candidates, Stuart McFerrin in the west half of Elmira Township, Platte and Lake Townships, And I have put their contact info in the chat, and I will do it again, so it's down lower in the chat. Karen Cunningham, so that's District 2. District 3 is Karen Cunningham, which covers Frankfurt and Crystal Lake. And District 4 is our own Patty Perquette, which is Benzonia. Benzonia has changed a little because of population increase, and some of the folks in the southeast corner have been moved into a different district. Those are the 3 districts that we've been hitting pretty hard. We think they've all got a really nice chance to have a seat at the table after the election with the commission. We've done orientation sessions. I mean, the Dems have really come out and supported, and thank you all for have done that, who've been doing that. There's a lot of effort putting into those 3 candidates as in particular. Did some serious orientation stuff. They all have a list of strong Dems from their district in their hands. And as you've heard, they've been doing a little walking. We did the GT Long workshop with them. So they have read this book and learned all kinds of cool canvassing tricks. They now have the same treasurer. Thank you, Mr. John Jabazi, who is going to help them go through all of the weird little Michigan rules and regs for financial campaign finance stuff and make sure that's all happening. We're going to do pre and post postcards with them. So the office staff, which is 22 strong right now, yay, thank you, volunteers. We'll have something to do in there because we're not having a lot of visitors right now. So, but do come in, all of you come in, say hi, look at the maps. They're going to help do some postcards, which will say, hey, we're going to be in your neighborhood. And then we go to the neighborhood, the candidates go to the neighborhood. And then after they've been to the neighborhood, they write a thank you note that says, hey, nice to meet you. So we're 3 nice touches with voters right there. And that's going to be really sweet. And they're all learning how to do the van. So those county commissioners, I think, are ready to rock and roll, and they're great people, and support them, please, in any way you can. Beyond that, you've heard a little bit about the House, Benzie is split. Right now, the 2 counties, Elmira and Platte, are in up north with Leelanau and most of Grand Traverse, and that's where Betsy Kofia is running. She is being primaried by a man named Michael Brodsky, whom some of you have met. So after August, we'll know which of those will be the actual candidate, and we'll start putting a little more effort in that. Meanwhile, Kathy Albro, who has chaired the rural caucus for the whole state of Michigan through the state party, is running it for the rest of Benzie County. So I will also post contact information for all of those folks. We do plan, as part of the campaign efforts, to help those candidates do their walks and their phone calls. We're at the point right now where, along with trying to find door-to-door folks, we're trying to find phone bank people. So if that's something that any of you on this call are interested in doing, please do let me know ASAP. What we're asking all our good veteran phone callers, next week they'll be called, to see if, one, they're willing to commit and who they'd like to make calls for. All of the above would be my choice, but they can choose state or local candidates. And we'll get going on those kinds of things. So that's in the works. The walks will probably start after the 4th. And that's with the training. Obviously, there'll be some good training first. So everybody will feel good about what the message is going to be and how to approach it. And that's where we stand. Jim, is that enough?
That's great, Chris. Thank you very much. Spot on.
Okay.
And I'd like to thank Chris for, I don't know if you've been over to the office. Headquarters is looking good. It really is. We've even got the new district map up on the wall, and we've got people at the desk all day long now, and the data is flowing. A lot of that has to do with Chris's hard work. So thank you very, very much, Chris.
Okay. I did want to do a quick little shout out too to Tom Reichert and Ann Holm, who aren't necessarily always on these calls or aren't actively with us, although Mr. Tom is there. I see him in the corner. Hi, Tom. Who have volunteered to be the people, the 2 folks who are going to call the phone callers to sort of shake the bushes. They both are veteran callers themselves, have a lot of experience, and they'll be asking people and telling what it's like to be a phone caller. So thank you, and we're starting that next week.
Great. Thank you, Chris. All right. And thank you, Tom. Glad to have you here. Okay, we're going to hear very quickly now from Greta, who has done so much to not only create some great memes that are going out on our Facebook pages, but she's been our website webmaster for about a year and a half now. And the thing just keeps looking better and better. And I know we wanted to walk people through a few little functions for the website just so people know they're there, because it can actually help you with the work that's coming up here. So take it away there, Greta, and I'll get the website up. Okay.
Yeah, well, or let me do it. If you let me share my screen so I can
okay.
so I can navigate.
Okay, that's great. Let's
let me know when it's up because I can't.
There it is.
All right, very
You
good.
got it.
I just want to let you know, this is the home page. I don't know how often you guys visit the website. There's a lot of really good information here. And if you look at under support Benzie broadband, this has been up for a while. But what it leads you to is an article that Jim wrote a while back.
We're not seeing the screen yet.
I know you're not on. You're not on screen.
Yep.
I can't do anything about that. That's a function of the.
But you're not sharing.
I'll share. Keep talking. Don't worry about it. Just keep talking.
Well, oh, I see. Oh, okay. I'm supposed to do something.
Yeah.
Just a second. I thought Jim did it.
Screen share?
No. Let's see. Oh yeah. I got it.
You got it?
Here we go. Yep. Got it.
All right.
Okay.
There we go.
Now you can see it.
Yeah, we see the Zoom window.
Okay. What I wanted to point out here on is a background on broadband is that if you go to this support Benzie broadband thing, there's a link to an article that Jim wrote a while back that gives you all kinds of history and urges you to work with do whatever you can to make sure that our voices are heard and that we work all the angles. Jim is obviously going to be the right person to inform you about how to go about that. But there are some things that you can do once you have, some background and you check in with this Katie Sykes person or look up what's on the website and so on. The other thing you can do, and this is going to be specific to your district, if you go under the Get Involved tab and scroll down, you'll see that we have, in addition to all of our other representatives, we have all the county commissioners listed here, along with their phone numbers and email addresses and what districts they represent. So if you have some information you want to share or you want to urge them to take the appropriate actions to support our broadband here in Benzie County, these are the guys that are going to be front and center in making some of those decisions. Another thing, where'd it go? Where'd my website go? Here we go. Well, Jim, maybe you could just put it up.
Yeah, okay. You
Go ahead.
You have to stop sharing.
All right. Well, here. No, I can't even. Let's see. Oh, well, I don't know why it doesn't. Where's the thing?
Stop sharing.
The screen went away. All right, here we go.
Somewhere, yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, great. I'll just say we need to move along here. We also have the listing for all the townships there, and we're going to be hearing next from our speaker. One of the things she's going to talk about is working with the townships on these elections, and there's one page on our website, benziedemocrats.com. There's one page there, and you scroll down the whole thing and you see every township, every clerk's name, when they're open, what their phone number is, what their email is, what their website address is, where their building is. I mean, it's just this great list. And you can use that to get in touch with the townships. Go to benziedemocrats.com and look for that under the drop-down menus. It's really
it's under About Us.
yeah. Okay, great. Okay, great. Thank you, Greta.
Yeah.
We'll have to practice more on screen share. That's great. Thank you. So listen, we now have our presentation. Melissa, I'm sorry we kept you waiting here, running a little late. Melissa is the Michigan Democratic Party Voter Protection Recruitment and Hotline Manager. She joined the Michigan Dems Voter Protection Team in 2021 to run the Voter Assistance Hotline. Over the past year, she's expanded the volunteer opportunities to include more so that volunteers can volunteer remotely, which is just a great thing for us that we can be part of that. And she's created and implemented the ballot cure and volunteer recruitment programs. She's got a background in training and development and a strong passion for voting rights. And her favorite quote is the same one that Kira brought up at the beginning of the meeting. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that has. Melissa, thank you very much for being here. And please say hello and tell us what you got there. Melissa Pendolino. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. And you have great taste in quotes, Kira. Great minds do think alike. So hi, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you today. We have quite a bit going on in voter protection world. I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm sure many of you have seen or at least heard about the Politico article that came out a week or two ago. If you haven't, don't worry, I'm going to explain it, but I will send you the link after. There has been, and the Michigan Dems, we've been tracking this for a while, so it wasn't news to us, but it wasn't something we could share at the time until Politico brought it to the public eyes. They had been recruiting and training partisan and big lie believers as election workers, our election inspectors or poll workers, to run elections. The purpose of this was to get folks to, essentially subvert the elections, refuse ballots when they could, turn away voters when they could, and also to, as the gubernatorial candidate who was just recently arrested for his part in January 6th, but unfortunately still legally able to run, Ryan Kelly, announced on camera at a meeting that he was hoping that they would unplug tabulator machines if they saw things that they didn't like. So we've been working hard to try to launch the biggest voter protection program we've had in a very long time. We were actually looking to do something on a presidential year level, which is typically a lot, nearly twice or sometimes 3 times the size of a standard voter protection program, to try to counter this as best as we could. I do want to put you at ease. We did know about this for a while, so we have been preparing for it. But at the same time, it complicates things for elections because, typically in the past, the Michigan Dems, we've tried to get a poll challenger in every polling place that a GOP poll challenger would be stationed at, so that while they were trying to challenge our votes, we would be able to advocate for voters. But now now we need to make sure we have a challenger for every Republican or partisan election inspector, which makes things even more difficult. Again, bear in mind, we have known about this, so we have been preparing. But at this point, what we need is volunteers. If anyone is interested, please do let me know. I'm going to put some links and my contact information in the chat after I'm done speaking. But that's going to be one of the key things for us, getting enough poll challengers and early vote challengers. An early vote challenger, by the way, is a new position that Secretary Benson just signed into law a couple of weeks ago. We're still working out what the difference between our this new early vote challenger program would be as compared to what used to be called an early vote observer program. But we did already start, we have already started training folks for that. There's actually a training going on right now, so obviously you couldn't make that one, but we'll be having more trainings later on for this. And what those folks are doing is essentially just going to clerk's offices between the start of the early vote period, which is June 23rd. That's when voters can first request, fill out, and return their ballots in a clerk's office, just to make sure everything's on the up and up, making sure that voters are able to do the things that they need. Clerks are not denying people. Clerks have all the equipment and things that we need, that they need. We're not necessarily looking to find fault in the clerks. We're also looking to make sure they have the resources that they should have access to in order to make sure they're running their programs properly. So that's the bigger things. So for these challenger programs, again, we're looking for early vote challengers. We're looking for polling place challengers. It's essentially the same role, only one is before August 2nd and one is on August 2nd. But we're also looking for phone bankers to, I know somebody else mentioned phone banking earlier. We're also looking for phone bankers to help us recruit volunteers, because we have thousands of people who have said they're interested in volunteering, but for me to reach all of them on my own would be very difficult. 6,000 phone calls would probably take me till next March. So we are running phone banks to try to get those volunteers informed and signed up for trainings. I also do private phone banks. So if, for instance, the Benzie Dems wanted to have a phone bank one night, I would talk to Jim, find out what works best for everyone, and then I would join your Zoom, or you could join my Zoom, and we would do it just for you. We also do that for smaller subgroups if any of you is also leading your city or township party or caucus, anything like that. The important thing is getting these positions filled, because again, we are up against a lot this year. Aside from the election inspector placement program that the GOP has, they have also been pushing the big lie, spreading as much disinformation as possible and trying to get people to not only believe it, but to act on it. So we have a lot of concerns for this election, and with the stakes being as they are, we do, as you probably recall, have Governor Whitmer, Secretary Benson, and AG Nessel on the ballot this year. We also have some petitions going around that I'll go into in a moment to give you an update on those as well. But one of those petitions could put a ballot initiative for reproductive rights on the ballot. and most likely will. And there are also, we also have a unique opportunity this year because of the Citizens Redistricting Program, or commission, excuse me. Instead of being gerrymandered this year, we actually have some fair districts for the state house seats, and we might be able to take back the state house. So knowing that we have all of these things on the ballot makes the GOP work harder, which means we have to work harder. So if anyone has any interest or any questions about those, you could either ask after the presentation, or you could reach out to me privately and I'll get back to you. But I don't want to focus too much on that because there's a bunch of other things to go over. So we also have, and I'm sure you know, I'm sure you've all been following this, a lot of petitions floating around. So we have a couple that the Democrats are backing, which are Promote the Vote. That's to expand voting rights and prevent prevent anti-voter bills from challenging citizens' voting rights, and of course reproductive freedom for all. Both of these are going well. We are fully on track with Promote the Vote. We believe, I don't want to get too optimistic because you never know. I mean, I was on the team that found thousands upon thousands of bad signatures on the half the GOP gubernatorial candidates' petitions. So I'm always cautious with my optimism when it comes to a petition. So we are on track. We believe we will be able to cross the threshold for both Promote the Vote and reproductive freedom for all. The reproductive freedom for all, again, is the ballot initiative. So that requires a lot more signatures than one of the standard petitions. So for a standard legislative petition, you need 340,000 signatures to get something back through the legislature, and veto proof. When we're talking about ballot initiatives, that has a longer collection time or a later collection due date, and requires more signatures. It actually requires 500,000 signatures. So reproductive freedom for all has been running really, really well. A lot of people are very motivated after the news about the possibility of Roe v. Wade falling this year. And it's really important to get that because I'm not sure if any of, as you may or may not know, there is the most recent law in Michigan regarding reproductive freedom or abortion is from 1931. And that law that's in the Michigan Constitution makes it illegal for any reasons, for an abortion for any reasons, including the life of the mother, which is horrifying to think about. If you're interested in helping with either of those petitions, I just put a couple of links to their main pages and volunteer pages in the chat for you. So if Roe v. Wade falls, we will fall back to the 1931 law prohibiting abortion in any instances, which could be very dangerous for a lot of people, unfortunately. But on the bright side, like I said, both of our petitions, the Promote the Vote and Reproductive Freedom, are going very well. We are on track. If anyone wants to help finish them off, the links are in the chat. So you also may be happy to learn that the GOP-backed petitions, Secure My Vote, which would be me to limit or restrict voting rights and let my kids learn are both kind of floundering right now. They passed the initial deadline to get names on their petitions, and they're still struggling. Even though the deadline passed, they are still attempting. There's a small grace period after a petition like this is due, which is an interesting tidbit I'll share with you is, so there is a grace period, but in the bylaws written about that, it does not say anywhere whether or not the petition signatures will be accepted after the grace period. So they're kind of hoping they can get a few more signatures, and they're hoping that their petitions will be accepted. It doesn't look good for them, which is a very good thing, which is a relief for us, because Secure My Vote would cause a lot of problems for voters, and it would make it so much more difficult, needlessly difficult for voters to be able to register and cast their votes. It would also have limited absentee voting, which we right now have no excuse absentee voting. So anyone would have the freedom to do that if they were more comfortable that way, or just typically works all day on Tuesdays and couldn't make it to the polls. So we're very happy to announce that. Again, I don't want to get ahead of myself, and just in case they do come through with enough signatures and those signatures are accepted, even though they are past the deadline, it looks pretty good for us, and it looks pretty good for voting rights right now. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is our voter protection team in general. The MDP voter protection team has, for the last year, consisted of me, our voter protection director, Erica, and a deputy director. For this election, we've actually hired an additional voter protection deputy director who to help run the programs that I'm not running. I run all of the remote voter protection programs. My colleague Jake runs the in-person programs like the challengers and Canvas observers, things like that. So our team has expanded. We've actually we expanded in April to become 4 of us, and then we just added 4 more associates. So it's a very exciting time for us right now. We have a lot to contend with, so we are doubling our efforts as far as employees working for the Michigan Dems. And we're also, again, like I said, expanding our volunteer base to make sure we can cover anything and everything that comes our way. So I know there was a lot of doom and gloom in this conversation, but please do know we have been, not to pat myself on the back, but we've been doing a great job of countering this. So as long as we can get the volunteers, the volunteer base we're looking for, we should be okay, which is a nice thing to be able to say. So some more information about some of the remote volunteer opportunities, the ones that I run, that could also help counter these. I kind of touched on earlier, we need a lot of challengers recruited. So we do recruitment phone banks, which if you've never done phone banking before, it's an excellent opportunity, because I usually call it phone banking for beginners. You're not speaking to anyone who might get mad at you. You're not speaking to anyone who does not agree with your party's positions. You're not calling on behalf of candidates. Instead, you're calling other volunteers. You're calling people like yourselves that are plugged in, or try to stay as plugged in as possible and like to volunteer. Volunteers, as you know, tend to be good-hearted people. So when you're calling through this, it'll teach you how to use phone bank software. It'll get you used to talking to other people by following a script. But it's also a very pleasant experience, and the most pleasant experience you can have phone banking. And I can honestly say that because I did phone banking as a volunteer many times, and I know the difference. You can feel the difference because these are all volunteers. They've signed up with us before. They're interested in being a part of our programs. And we're just saying, hey, we know you're interested in doing this. We have a training coming up. Can we sign you up? And we're connecting those volunteers to facilitate that, that connection and getting them started. So if anyone's interested in doing that, and we have, I have a couple of phone banks scheduled, and you could sign up for those right here. But if you are interested in having a phone bank run for your group, you can actually, I'm gonna put my Calendly link, you could actually put yourself on my calendar. You can say, I want to run a phone bank with 20 of my closest friends on July 8th. And I'll say, okay, here's everything you need. You could also say you want to run your next meeting as a phone bank here. And I, again, will say, okay, I'll meet you there. And typically we have a lot of fun at the private group phone banks. So bear that in mind. If you feel like doing something outside of the phone banking realm, we also have a voter protection hotline. So officially called the Voter Assistance Hotline. The Voter Assistance Hotline is open. It's already open, but it will remain open through the November 8th election. We usually keep it open and accessible for voters who have any questions or last minute reporting information for about a week after an election. So this is the phone number that I just put in the chat for you. So if you could share our phone number, that would also be a very big help. A lot of times voters don't know who to call or where to go, especially in a place like Benzie County where you're concerned about your broadband access. Not everybody's going to be able to find the information by searching themselves. Not every clerk has a website that they're updating with voting information. So if you could share our phone number, it'll really help allow us to give information to voters who need us. There is also there's also opportunities to join the voter protection hotline if you're interested. Volunteers just answer phones from home by logging into a program on their computer. And that is also very fulfilling because the people who are calling are slightly distressed, hoping that they can figure out their issue and be able to cast their vote. And we're just kind of helping them and advising them on that. So I am going to put about 8 million links in the chat right now, and I apologize for muddying up the chat, but Jim, I'll also send you all of the links with a little bit of background information to send out to the whole team here, if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you.
And I am also going to put my contact information. So one of the running remote programs for me means that I need to be accessible to anyone who needs me, because we're never going to be in an office building together having a conversation. So try to make myself as available as I can. So you have my email address, you have my phone number. That's my work number, so don't worry, I turn it off when I'm not working, so you won't disturb me. And a link to my calendar that you can come in and ask me a few questions if you think of them later. You could also, if you want to do a phone bank or a friend bank with a bunch of friends together, you can sign yourself up there and we can start that process. We are doing Slack, of course. Slack is our main form of communication. So anyone who's on the voter protection team for the remote positions right now are going to be added to our Slack. So we have a way to communicate, like a virtual office space. Thanks for asking that. And anyone who wants to join that Slack, just to keep informed, we also have on our, I'm going to put a link in the chat right now for our a voter protection link tree. If you open this link, you'll see volunteer opportunities, sign up for more information. You'll see how to find us on social media, how to get on our mailing list, all of those things. And one of the links is to join our Slack, which will be inviting people onto Slack to join an announcements channel where we can talk about anything that is that's important to us or important to you. You could ask questions, and it'll kind of give us a chance to be in the same room and have discussions when needed. But that is my presentation, and I am going to be sharing all of this information with everyone through Jim. Thanks, Jim. So if anybody has any questions.
David Green, I have a question
for you.
Oh, I'm not sure who spoke up first.
David Green, go ahead.
Hi, I have experience with the Election Challenger program. I think I helped organize and run it 4 or 5 times, not in the last 2 elections, but previous. And we were always very good at getting enough volunteers. We were able to have 2 people in the big town, in the big polling places, and 1 in the smaller ones, and we were totally covered. But it was, in my opinion, it was always ruined by the fact that we asked them to track voters for our phone banks. So they had to be able to see the screen, they had to get lists, they had to check off the lists, they had to deliver the lists. It made it endlessly complicated. And I think we would be very successful if the election challenger's only job was to protect the vote.
That is the election challenger's current only job. I'm not sure what they did in the past. I'm not familiar with what you were just mentioning. So that was definitely before my time, and very likely before Erica took over the program.
Okay.
So it has nothing to do with phone banking or any type of tracking. The challengers, what their main duty is to keep an eye on things and report to us if there's any issues and advocate for voters if voters have issues.
Well, that would make it much simpler than it was in the times when I was involved. I just wanted to mention 2 things that I might be concerned about. One is that our volunteer population is aging quite a bit, and the COVID, how that would work into that, like someone has to be in the polling place. Those are my concerns.
Yeah, you know what? And those are very not only valid, but common concerns. That's why we have so much trouble getting people into our polling places right now. A lot of people took a step back once COVID hit. And you know what? Honestly, I don't blame them. You know, it's very concerning, especially with long COVID. And we don't want anyone to be in a position where they're uncomfortable. Of course, unfortunately, at this very moment, there is no requirement for people in polling places to wear masks. We don't know if that'll change. We hope it will. But you could, challengers are, of course, welcome to, and I don't want to say expected, but encouraged to wear masks. Because that's super important. Also, the laws around or the rules around being a challenger have changed a bit to make it more relaxed. You no longer have to stand up for 13 hours straight. In most places, in most cases, you'll be able to sit. And we also do, to accommodate people who can't do the long shifts, We also have 3 different shifts for election day. You could either do open to close, which some people still like to do, or you can do a 6-hour morning to afternoon shift, or a 7-hour afternoon to evening shift. So we can make accommodations, and again, in most polling places, they'll give you a chair to sit on, so you wouldn't have to stand up for that extended period of time. On another note, to kind of take off of where you mentioned, a lot of folks are getting up in age lately that have been doing the Challenger work. We're trying to spread that information to younger folks as well. We're trying to make sure we can get some of the younger generation involved. I mean, people from my generation are not very plugged in, even though we should be. I mean, they'll complain on Twitter about what's going on, but when it comes down to doing the hard work, I'll just say my generation is not the best at it that they could be. So we do share, we are sharing to younger groups. We're trying, we have a couple of initiatives to pull in volunteers from most of the universities in Michigan. We're starting small programs in those areas to get law students involved, and any other students really. So yeah, those are genuinely important concerns and things that we're kind of heading off and trying to adjust as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was great questions. I see that Chris wrote something in the chat. Van is much more useful on election day. Yeah, absolutely. Van is much more useful on election day. We don't actually have challengers going on Van or Vote Builder, as some of you might know it as. We actually take care of that on our end, so that you don't have to be concerned about that. But yeah, we can actually track how things are going, how many people have voted already, and kind of keep you updated on things like that through our tracking system. So the technology is a little bit easier because you don't need to use Van while you're at these polling places either, which Van can be cumbersome, and it's not perfect. We'll just say that. But we do use LBJ as our reporting system, which makes things a little easier. You just open one website on your phone and you could let us know anything you want or need. And we're also utilizing the voter assistance hotline for challengers to call in issues and questions for us. So you have more support through an 800 number as well.
So Melissa, I've got a question.
Sure.
Before, my memory of it is for local poll challengers. That was pretty much organized through the local party. Are we still doing that, or should we just funnel everybody who's recruit who's interested in this to your office, and then you train them and assign them? How does this go?
So we're more often than not, we are partnering with, we would more likely partner with you. Okay. If you're looking to get if you're recruiting to get all of your polling stations set up with challengers, or whatever the case may be, we would help you by credentialing and helping you train those volunteers. So a lot of county party groups do partner with us. I know you have always, or for at least a very, very long time have. So we appreciate that, but not every county party does, unfortunately, which is part of what makes recruiting so important.
I see. Okay, thanks.
Melissa, Chris had a question a bit earlier on chat. Who makes the call on accepting the GOP petitions that missed the deadline? The State Board of Canvassers, State Election Commission?
Thanks, Paul. I'm sorry, Chris, I didn't see that.
Okay.
So that goes before this, the State Board of Canvassers. They're the ones who make the final decision. But again, I can say we're very optimistic. when it comes to those petitions. So it feels good to say we're optimistic about it, because we were not when it first started. So when they first started collecting for Secure My Vote, we were not very optimistic, and actually instead very alarmed. But we're optimistic now. Things are going well, and we believe we'll be okay.
Good, thanks.
Sure.
Melissa?
Hi, Tom.
There's two things we talked about here. One is the challengers and the other one is the poll workers. I didn't hear you mention anything about poll workers. And is that something, if you want to do that, we would just go to our local poll place and tell them?
So you would, so if you wanted to be a poll worker, they're called, officially called election inspectors. You would have to go through the clerk. The way it works is somebody who is interested in being an election inspector. There was a deadline that passed where a county party could nominate some folks if they wanted to, but otherwise, if you were interested in doing it, you would apply, and then the clerk appoints election inspectors based on those applications. So let's say the Beulah clerk has 5 places that need election inspectors. You might get the clerk might only get 5 applications, or the clerk might get 50. The clerk's job is to look through those applications and then appoint 5 of those 50 that they see fit to run the election or to run the polling place.
And they're required to, it's bipartisan appointments, right? They have to do Republicans and Democrats.
They do, yes.
Okay, so that's still something somebody can do.
I believe so. I know the deadline for county party has passed.
Yeah, February 15th.
Let me look up. I'll send you that information afterwards, Jim.
Okay, great. Other questions? I have a question. Why do you think the Republican petitions for Secure My Vote and the other one about schools or whatever that's called, why do you think they're having trouble? Do you think Democratic pushback has had some effect on that?
I do actually. I think that, so obviously there's been a lot in the news about petitions lately with those half the slate of gubernatorial candidates being denied a chance to be on the ballot due to fraudulent signatures. I think people are looking at things like that and kind of taking a step back and wondering why exactly they should be signing something when these petitions tend to bring up fraudulent signatures. But even before that, I think I want to say that Secretary Benson has been doing an amazing job of explaining exactly what these laws mean. We had to, for the petition process, when the language that's used to describe or explain a petition needs to be submitted to the Board of Canvassers, and partisan and nonpartisan groups can actually come out and say, you need to change that because it's deceptive. So the Michigan Dems, of course, fought the language, especially on Secure My Vote, that was being pushed as election integrity. But not only the Michigan Dems, almost every nonpartisan voting group in Michigan stepped forward, the Michigan ACLU, the League of Women Voters, and kind of said, no, you're lying to the public if you say it that way. So I think part of it is we didn't even have to work on the messaging for that because it was too transparent. even the nonpartisans were getting involved and saying that's deceptive, that's a lie, and pushing to have the language change. So when you have every nonpartisan in the state all saying the same thing, it sends a very good message to the voters about what is true and what is fair and what is not. Also, the Republicans have been doing a very good job of burying their own messages lately, which is fantastic. We thank them for their support in that area. And they're pushing big lie supporters, QAnon folks to get into their elections. And the people of Michigan aren't stupid. Some of them may vote Republican because they prefer Republican or conservative values, but they're not, for the most part, interested in nonsense conspiracy theories. And they're not going to sign on to anything that supports those. So I think that's a big reason as well. We had, I forget the gentleman's name, but the man who created the Promote the Vote to counter Secure My Vote has killed petitions before by sharing truthful information, and he does an excellent job of it. So that's another reason on top of that.
Great.
I want to say our democratic messaging is great, but I mean, we're so much worse at naming things than the GOP is. Secure my vote, let my kids learn. They sound great on paper, and they use the little MI, which makes them cutesy. We are boring namers compared to that. So
That's really true. I agree with that. We need more teen heat on this or something.
yeah, absolutely.
Some
We
more-
need that TikTok energy.
Yeah, right. Okay. Any other questions, gang? Well, great, Melissa. Thank you very, very much for bringing us up to date on this. I know a lot of people have been very worried about what's going on with the petitions and very worried about what the GOP is threatening to do on election day. And it looks like some good old-fashioned citizen activism is the best counteraction, and it seems to be working.
It is. But let's not go too crazy on that.
No.
If you can help out with any of the petitions that are circulating right now, definitely please step up and do that. We don't want to become complacent. That's the most scary thing we could do right now. So
yeah, very true. I'll just repeat that we do have the reproductive rights and the Promote the Vote petition at headquarters. You can stop by anytime we're open and sign up on them. We're open Monday through Friday from 10 to 4. We're open Mondays till 7. And we're open Saturdays 10 to 1. So we're open right now. We'll be for another 90 minutes.
Perfect.
So come by. All right. Well, thank you, Melissa, so much.
Sure.
We thank you for what you're doing. It's got to be tough work.
Thank you for inviting me here today. And again, Jim's going to share my contact information. If you have questions, if you have ideas, I mean, we run on volunteer ideas, you know that. So please share them with me. I try to be as available as possible, and I'm always up for a meeting with people who have great ideas and who have experience. So you let me know, and I'll be happy to meet with you or talk with you. Okay.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Jim, can I ask a quick question? It's a little confusing to me now. Who do we contact if we want to be a poll watcher? You or Melissa? How are we going to do that?
Well, you can do either. If you want to be a poll challenger, I can set you up for a training. But if the Benzie Dems are doing their own recruiting and placement program, we're just going to partner with them. So reach out to me or reach out to Jim, but definitely reach out to Jim first, either way, so that he's aware of what's going on.
Thank you.
we'll be putting out stuff about that in our email blasts very soon because the moment is approaching here, as they say. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
And once again, all this information is in the chat. If you want to save the chat, if you're on your laptop, go down to the right-hand corner, click chat, go down to the right-hand corner, see those three dots, press on the dots. You'll see the one that says save, and it'll save it automatically to your computer. I can't tell you how to do it for your phone, but maybe you can figure that out. I don't know the phone stuff, so. But please do that before you leave today. Is there any other thing anybody wants to bring up in this meeting about us going forward here towards our July 4th parade? And we've got an event coming up in August for our candidates that we'll be talking to you about and going door to door. And I think we have another thing from Pledge Central here. What do you want to say there, Mike and Chris? Go ahead. Can't hear you.
You're muted.
There you go.
That was me, sorry.
This is your last chance today to break my inbox on my text message or my email, and we will match. I think we have about 10. We need about 10 more in the next
2 minutes.
2 minutes. So
yeah.
please do that. I would be happy if my inbox collapsed.
And we'll match every canvasser volunteer with a driver. How's that?
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, if you can bring a driver with you, even better. You don't want Jim and I and GT Long pounding on your door, begging you to come out and canvas. So make it easy. Thanks.
Okay, great. Anything else anybody wants to say here? All right. Well, listen, thank you all for being here. You can now go outside and enjoy the sunshine. You have permission to do that. Thank you very, very much for showing up today. There are so many distractions out there, you just wouldn't believe it. But you guys persevered, and we really, really appreciate it. So thank you all, and have a good Saturday.
Thanks, Jim.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks again for having me.
Bye.
Thanks. Great meeting.
Right. Got to go to a promote the vote meeting.
There you go. Oh, we're getting bigger and bigger.
So, Jim, I'm going to stop recording now.
Absolutely.